What's up, everyone? Today we're talking about what to do with your training if you're time poor. We've got a whole lot of our tribe that have jumped on our UMS Foundations Phase 1 program and getting some great questions for people that are, as we said, time poor. Stick around if you want to know what to do to maximize your training time.
What's up, everyone? My name is Yanni Baumeister. I am graced with the presence of Phil White, Rad Baumeister, and Richard Lellies. Together we are Unity Gym and the Unify Movement System. If you want to know how we turn driven people into superhumans, get your butt over to the UMS Movement Mastermind, download our blueprints, just become awesome in general.
Do it.
How is everyone?
Pretty good. I feel like I've got a question of the day for today.
Ooh, I'm feeling super chuffed today because I just finished the new shelves that we were putting in the gym that caused the flooding, and they look amazing.
It's all worth it.
It was all worth it.
It's all worth shutting down 2 city blocks worth of water.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Most expensive shelves in the history of Sydney, I think. How is everyone? How's Richie on the mic up there?
Good, man, good.
Now behind fancy monitors, I can't see his face.
Richie's
He's truly a man of mystery.
Really.
Richie's control tower, we call it the what do you call it? The control station. I can't remember. Anyway,
Are they working? Are the monitors working?
Yeah.
One is.
He's waiting for another plug for the other one.
Extra mysterious.
Stop
I
it.
like it.
Stop it.
So today we're going to answer a very common question. It's a very good question. It's a very common question, and it is about, fitting everything in, what to do. And in a moment, I'll get Rad to read out the full question from one of our new tribe members, Doran, who has just jumped on and grabbed the Foundations program and is about to kick that off. And this is an issue that a lot of people face. I think we can give a lot of value here today. First and foremost, do you want to read out what the question of the day is, Rad?
For sure. So Doran Barsam has he's just jumped on our flash sale at the moment, which you've still got another 6 hours to get if you want to get our UMS Foundation Phase 1 program. And he's saying, I have completed a few other programs and train about 4 times a week. Should I start at Phase 1 or skip to another phase? Where do I get the PDF of the tracker for the phases so that I can track progress simultaneously with the workout? And i.e. have the tracker in one window and switch to the login area on another window. Are you supposed to do upper and lower body stretching routine before every workout as well as stretching after every exercise in the workouts? It just seems to me that each workout is going to take a really long time, and unfortunately I don't get too much free time in a day to work out, so try to fit everything into a maximum of 45 minutes. I'm currently doing some other weightlifting programs on alternative days. Would you advise this? So we've got a lot of questions here.
There's 2 elements to the question.
I think there's more than 2.
Disregard the
PDF track is in the
PDF
program, bro.
because
That's right there.
that's-
Just scroll through the content and you'll see it right there.
Yeah, that's not a question. The question that we can give value for here is the 45-minute time limit and what to do, what to prioritize. And second, the combination of other workouts in conjunction with UMS, which we get a lot because people are afraid to let go of what they're doing. And that there's a lot of psychology that plays into that. I've certainly felt that before when you do something that you're enjoying and you start doing something different. It's sort of like, am I going to move away from this other thing or not? So we'll get to that second. But what I actually really meant when I threw the mic over to you was read out the question of the day. But now Phil can do that. So question of the day.
How do you fit the UMS? How do you fit in the UMS program with your other training?
That's what we want to know. For those of you that are doing the UMS program or have done the UMS program, what did you do to fit it in with your training?
Yeah.
How did you make it work?
And I think
Did you neglect your family?
I think there's almost a better way of asking that. Did you think, or after doing the UMS for a few months, did you think that there was any need for anything else outside of the UMS? It's a different way you could ask that question. But
I do.
Yeah, you do?
Yeah, I really like to play sports. I really get so much joy out of, I like training, but I love having training leading up to doing something with my body. Yep. And so for me, I had a beach volleyball tournament on the weekend, and I train beach volleyball during the week, and also do a bunch of surfing and a bit of triathlon stuff in there as well. And that just keeps me, like, it's a positive feedback loop of motivation for doing what I do in the gym, because I know that it's sort of like a means to an end. Like, it's a healthy behavior that I want to do for my whole life, but having it attached to some kind of fun expression of like fitness, I think just really gets me going.
Hey, don't tell me that you actually train in the gym so that you can perform functionally outside of the gym.
Sweet,
That's a ridiculous concept, Phil.
Yeah, it's
ridiculous.
out there. But
we all just train so that we can get jacked in front of the mirror, right?
But yeah, I think it's you've got to find what works with your personality and what works with your motivation. Because I know there's a lot of people who feel like they should be doing the gym and they turn it into this chore. But I think if you can, but you know, there are other people who just turn up and just absolutely get so much joy in doing the training in itself. But yeah, for me, I'm someone who loves to compete in games, big or small, and yeah, I think just having a sport in there just really does it for me. So
yeah. Well, I'm going to answer one of the questions that you haven't included in what you said. There's two phases of this question, or two parts to it, which is, I've done plenty of other training programs before. Should I start at phase 1 or skip to another phase? Absolutely not. Do not skip to another phase. We've had people that have been training for 15 years and that are very accomplished in what they can do, and they still do phase 1.
Yep.
Don't think that this is a beginner program. Don't make that mistake.
Yeah.
Like, is a chest press and a bent over row a beginner exercise, or are the strongest people in the world still doing chest press and bent over rows?
Yeah.
Because that's what's in phase 1.
It's
not a beginner program.
I watched a clip from Cal Strength the other day of one of the world champion wrestlers doing his weights training, and he was doing exercises identically the same as the Foundations program. He was using all dumbbells. He was doing pause reps. He was controlling his tempo, doing bent over rows.
Mr. Olympia athletes go and train with people like the late Charles Poliquin, and they will do programs where they do dumbbell chest press, bent over rows, external rotations, forearm conditioning. It is not a beginner's program. It is a foundational strength program, we didn't call it the UMS beginner program. We called it the UMS Foundations program because it's the foundation of all strength and flexibility. Yeah. And every foundation can always, it doesn't matter how strong it is, it can always use a little bit of retweaking. So it doesn't matter how strong your foundation is, you can still go back to this and benefit from it. So don't skip phase 1. Yeah,
100%. Well, now that we've answered that question, I'd just like to say, because Phil made me feel very lazy there with his little preface, I used to be an athlete too, all right, until I ran 3 businesses, and then I had children. I had to give it all up myself, so all my hobbies went out. But I was a boxer from 14 to 30 and played competitive soccer, and then before that rugby league. So
yeah. I'm in that sweet spot where
Phil's
I
still
currently
he's still doing it, and he's got no kids. He's got no kids, and he's not running a company that's too over the top. And he's still managing his time. So
wasn't a dig at you. It's just
I know.
What personally
I
works.
To sit here going, oh God, I feel terrible. Anyway,
Players come in with some great answers. Guys, if there's anyone else listening or watching live on the UMS Movement Mastermind, and if you're listening on the podcast or YouTube, you should join that Facebook group because that's where you can ask questions here. Anyone that's watching live that does the UMS Foundations or Progressions program, please answer the question of the day. How do you fit in the UMS program with your other training? Clay, we'll get to yours soon. Thanks, brother. But everyone else, please
Because we do have a lot of athletes. Now, first and foremost, with the Foundations program, it's different to our UMS Progressions program in one key factor. It's only a 4-day split as opposed to a 6-day split. And the UMS Foundations program, we did that because people starting off into a 6-day split, it was often quite difficult. And by the time you get through the foundations and you sink your teeth into the UMS Progressions style of training, you will be you'll be liberated. You will have learned how you can factor in your own training in and outside of it. So we got guys here who play rugby union. That's probably the most common. We've had a couple of professional soccer players through here, football players, and they have to change the program a little bit to suit their training schedule outside of the gym. You know, I know that Tom here, who Richie trains at lunchtime, changes the split so that his leg days don't interrupt as much with game day and his training outside for rugby union. But with the foundations program, it's only 4 days. We drop the straight arm scapular strength and also the option to do athletic performance, which is mostly hip stabilization stuff. And you can take that up if you want to, but you can do the foundations perfectly by allocating only 4 workouts a week. Isn't that right?
Yeah, well, there's a really good reason why we do that, and that is because there is so much to learn with our programs. There's so many videos to watch, and we tried it for a good 12 months, I'd say, and the overwhelming feedback that we got is that it was really overwhelming for people, and it was too much, and people were feeling like they were letting themselves down by not doing the 6 days a week that the program had. And we believed that we were letting everybody else down by creating a program that made themselves feel like they were letting themselves down by not doing it.
Yep.
So, and I can see Phil like giving a little hallelujah moment here, because we just, the best program that you can do is the program that you do. So we simplified it.
The best program is the next program.
Yeah.
Nope.
No, the best program
That was posture.
Yeah.
Best posture is the next posture.
The best program that you do is the one that you actually do. So we made it, 4 days a week is more than enough to train to get a good result for most people at any level. Even at our level, if we trained 4 days a week and we did good training, we would still get a great result, right?
Yeah,
we would. So that's why we changed it to 4 days a week. And very, very, very rarely we have somebody that's a real overachiever that says, listen, I like to train 5 or 6 days a week. What do I do? And we can so easily just throw that straight arm strength day in there for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why we did that.
But this brings us to the element of the question, which is that, just quickly, just to correct everyone, the best program is the next program because it's the program you're not adapted to yet. That's why I say that.
Love it.
Uh-huh.
It's a new one.
No, I've been saying that for years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now,
you heard it here first, though, Phil.
Now, what I think we should start by suggesting that for Doran and anyone else who's got this conundrum where they've got it might be like that you're doing a bit of powerlifting. This is a common one. So you want to keep you're doing your deadlift session or your bench press session or whatever how it is. First and foremost, it is certainly going to interrupt the foundations program if you're doing movements that are in the gym. If you're doing, and here's where we'll draw the line, if you're doing sports-specific training, so for instance, you go and do football training 2 nights a week and play on the weekend, then absolutely you can keep doing that. You just may have to change the weekly split to fit so that you don't do leg day right before you go and are expected to do 40-meter dashes or a beep test or something like that, and that's where I'll say 100% keep doing your workouts outside and maybe send us a question saying how do I alter the split and give us your other training days that you're committed to already and what you're doing. But if it's a gym related workout, then where you're doing barbell work, kettlebell work, dumbbell work, then it's absolutely going to affect the program, and the program is absolutely going to affect your current regime. And so what we need to do then is ask, okay, what am I doing this foundations program for? What are my goals?
Yep.
Because the foundations program is going to go for, if you're only doing phase 1 of it, it's only going to go for 4 to 6 weeks, depending on your experience level. And if you do the whole program from phase 1 to 3, it's going to be a very short macro cycle in the grand scheme of things. And the amount of benefit you'll draw from it is huge. Absolutely huge. And then when you come back to your powerlifting or whatever you're doing, you are going to be better off for it. I've done this before myself, and I've come back going, holy crap, like there's just less resistance in my body. I can do things and generate power more efficiently now, and I'm less likely to get injured. So you got to start by saying, okay, what am I doing? Am I going to go all in on this, or am I only going to dip my toe in the pool of awesomeness and not do it properly? And that's the first thing to get your head around. And it's not easy to give up something that you're doing that you're sort of enjoying.
I've learned this the hard way myself. I think the first thing you have to do is you have to be really, really honest with yourself. If you signed up to a program with somebody else, you signed up because you want something that you haven't been able to create yourself. Otherwise, you wouldn't have paid for it. You'd do it yourself. So you have to become really clear on that acknowledgement. You have to be clear that you're saying, I am doing this because I believe that I haven't been able to achieve the result that I want on my own. And that's why, like, I have never signed up for an online program, and I've done several of them myself, without making a full acknowledgement of, I want something that I can't create myself, and I'm paying somebody that knows more than me to learn from them. And when you do that, if you pay somebody that knows more than you to learn from them, but then you try to manipulate that into what you think you know better, you're just robbing yourself. You're robbing yourself. Like, the only way to really, truly learn from someone, like when I was I learned this lesson in Kung Fu, in martial arts, and I learned it the hard way by going to a new school with my teacher and debating with him on the way that you should kick, because I got taught how to do it like this at my last academy. And I'll never forget this lesson. This really changed my perspective as a student. And you have to learn to be a good student. Being a good student is not something that comes naturally for a lot of people. You have to learn to be a good student. And he said to me, he just smiled at me and he said, Rad, are you here to learn or are you here to teach? Why did you come to this school? And I went, and I said to myself, well, I didn't come here to teach, did I? I came to learn. And he said, you've only got one choice. You decide, do I have something that is valuable that I can teach you, and do you want to learn it? And if you do, be quiet and learn. And if you don't think I've got something valuable to teach you, then go somewhere else. But that's your choice. So yeah, if you're going to do something like the Foundations program that's such a small amount of time, ask yourself why you're doing it. I've never met anybody that came into our ecosystem that didn't feel that they were doing it for structural balance. People come here because they feel like, oh, I'm in balance, either strength to flexibility or left to right side, or old injuries, whatever.
That just doesn't seem
go
to sort itself out.
Do it 100%. If you've only got phase one, God, it's 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Stop everything else, do it 100% and see what happens. It's such a small amount of time.
I see this a lot with training where people are half in. They go half in. They're like, oh, yeah, I want to do this, but I'm only half in.
And they get no results.
I'll give you an example of it. I'll share a story. Yeah, this is the thing. You know, when there's lots on the line, you go all in.
Yeah.
When there's not so much on the line, you can go half in. To give you an example of where I see people go all in is when you go to learn how to skydive. When you go to learn how to skydive, I've never seen a group of people listen to the instructor more attentively. Because if you go half in learning how to skydive and you've got to pull your own ripcord and pack your own chute and you fuck it up, then you die. There's a lot on the line. So everyone is laser focused on the coach, and there is no one there who argues that there's a better way to do it.
Yeah.
They just shut the fuck up and listen to the guy teaching you how to pack your chute and pull your ripcord. You know, and so when you go into a program, be a skydiving student. You know, listen attentively. Consider that your life is on the line. Your results are on the line if you do it. You know, don't be the guy in the skydiving class arguing with the instructor that there's a better way, he knows how to do it, and then be the dude whose chute doesn't open when you're falling out of the plane.
Yeah. And one of the, there's a pretty good example of with physiotherapy and like rehabilitation exercise. One of the kind of main reasons why surgery has been shown to be effective in some cases is because people then take their rehab seriously. It's like, if they get to the point where they've had surgery, they're like, oh, I've got it. Like, obviously I have to do post-op rehab. When really, if you'd done the same exercises, or because you were not, had your knee chopped off and replaced by a plastic bit, even done sort of even harder and stronger exercise beforehand, you may not have needed the surgery in the first place. And they've done that with amazing studies where they've done actual placebo surgery, so they haven't even they've just cut the person open and then sewn them back up. So it's like proper tested scientific research to show that if you have the high stakes of, our lights have gone out.
Maybe reset the power board.
That's okay for people on podcasts. You don't need lights. You just got our dulcet tones. But if you have the high stakes of surgery, that it actually makes you take your rehab seriously. So try and control that part of your brain that needs the high stakes, and treat that. I like that. Be the skydiving student.
No
That's cool.
That's right. It comes up when the power
So
sorry about that, guys.
So I think the thing that you want to I lost what I was saying. That was something that I was going to say. The people that get the best results in our programs are often the people that come who are compromised, and that in that case, they are the ones that have more on the line, because they're in pain. They're experiencing pain, and pain is a very good reason to just do the work, you know.
Yep.
And so some of the guys, like Lockie is a great example of this, who's one of he got the Ultimate Athlete last year, still to be handed over because we didn't have our awards ceremony at the end of the year. He was very compromised when he came with his back pain, you know, and so he just did it. He knew, okay, I need to just take this in and I need to do it. Now, I want to make this clear. We don't know. In the question, I'm speaking very broadly here. I'm not suggesting that Doran, who's asked this question, because it's a very good question, I'm not suggesting, he hasn't given us enough context to know exactly what he's doing outside of the program or wants to do. It could be that he's playing football, it could be that he's a martial artist, and all of these different things.
Course,
We're talking very general here. So, Doran, if you watch this or if you are watching this, please don't feel attacked by it. We're just trying to put this in terms where other people can take away a little bit of insight from it as well, you know. And if you want to reach out to us and give us more specifics about what you're wanting to do outside of the program, then we can better help you fit it together.
Yeah.
But if it is a weightlifting program, if it is another style of weights training, a very good example that we've had in the past is people come in and they're CrossFitters and they want to do this, but they still want to go to CrossFit. And I said that's very similar to being a power lifter, identical, and then wanting to do Olympic lifting. You know, like to max out on deadlifts and back squats and then think that you can go and perform well the next day in Olympic lifting is just silly. You know, you won't be able to, and you'll probably hurt yourself. You won't be able to manage load properly, as Phil would say, and you'll most likely overload your system and end up compromised, you know. So I think that's what we're trying to get at here. Like, think about why you're doing it, and if the reasons are strong enough, then be the skydive student. Like, just go and really listen and pack your frickin' chute properly.
Yep.
You know.
So
next section of the question.
Yeah, we're going to have to wrap this up. So he's saying now, are you supposed to do the upper and lower body stretching routine before every workout? No, you're not. You're supposed to do the upper body stretching. It's not called a stretching routine, it's a warm-up. So the upper body warm-up before the upper body workout and the lower body warm-up before the lower body workout. So let's clear that up real quick. And then he's also saying, are you also supposed to do the stretching after every exercise in the workouts? Yes, you are, if you do it, but it's this program is completely customizable to the individual. So I've written it in a way where you can do it that way, or you can say, oh man, I've only got 45 minutes to train. How am I going to customize it to myself? Make it shorter.
Well, this is what we should really drive home now. You know, if you're time poor, how do you fit it in? What's the most important thing to do?
Yeah, well, I would say definitely that the most important thing to do is to do the primary lifts, the A's and B's, you know, the vertical push-pull and horizontal push-pull on the bent arm strength days.
And the flexibility.
And the flexibility in between it. And the supplementary lifts, you know, they're important, but I would argue that it's more important to train those compound movements.
And people might fall into the trap there of being like, oh, you know, I want to do strength more, so you could cut out the flexibility and just shorten the rest periods. But like the reason why the rest periods are there are so you can get a good strength outcome. If you shorten the rest periods, you're not going to lift to the same level, and you won't get the same adaptation. So you're going to keep the rest periods in there anyway.
So you have to do something. So you may as well do the stretches. Exactly.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
That's right.
And then just work through the flexibility exactly as it's laid out, and do as much of it as you can in the time that you allow yourself to get through those A's and B's.
Yeah. And definitely don't cut out the warm-up. The warm-up is very quick and efficient. Once you get good at it, you can knock it out very quickly. It's
you put the clock on, it goes for 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. And I think that you could get to a point where the warm-up is so efficient that you could probably get it done in less than 10 minutes. Yeah. Because you got to remember, we allow for the ring stuff for a lot of extra time. So I think
when
you could probably...
my warm-up, I get it in 6 or 7 minutes.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. I reckon you could get it done in 6 minutes once you get really efficient at it, you know. So don't cut that out, because the amount of times I've cut the warm-up out when I've jumped up out of my chair and gone, geez, I've just got to go out and lift something because I'm so busy today, I hurt myself every time.
Look, Doran's question is, he actually finishes by saying, I'm currently doing some other weightlifting programs on alternative days. Would you advise this? No, we wouldn't. Not while you're doing this. So many people, there's two kinds of people that come to us that have this same kind of question. some people come to us and say, hey, I like to do this training outside of the gym. Would you advise it? And we always say, no, I would recommend that you do this. Some people don't follow that advice, and then they find it's too much. They can't keep up with doing their CrossFit and the UMS, and they stop the UMS because they're married to their CrossFit.
Yeah. Others
say, okay, I'm going to try this, and they stop doing whatever it was that they were doing before they do this. They do it for about 2 or 3 weeks, and they go, my God, I've never felt better.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep doing this.
And
you'll never know that if you don't try
Yeah,
it.
that's exactly
You'll
right.
never
Just
know
embrace it and give it its time. And go all in. Now let's
have a
go
look at
through
these,
these comments. Yeah.
So the question of the day was, how do you fit in the UMS program with your other training? Clay Conway is saying, I'm busy too. I sometimes skip the C exercises depending on what they are. I try not to skip the stretches, but sometimes I do only 1 set of them instead of 3, etc. And then he also says, I don't do any other training except 5 to 10 minutes of additional cardio on my stationary bike. Awesome, Clay. Great way to fit the program in.
Yep.
Vinny is saying now...
I should say, and I don't want to discourage people who only have 45 minutes. You can absolutely get a good workout in 45 minutes.
We all do sometimes.
Yeah.
Richard never does. Richard's a beast. He always trains for an hour and a half. But sometimes the 3 of us, do 30-minute workouts.
Got a lot of work to do and clients.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't ever be discouraged if you're a little bit time restricted. I mean, quite frankly, guys, just doing the warm-up, getting up out of your chair and doing 10-minute warm-up is going to be so good for you, you know?
And just a quick point on, and trying to build other incidental exercise into your day just has a massive impact on your overall fitness, because even if you change from driving to work to doing like a 10-15 minute walk, or I've just changed from getting the bus to cycling every day, and now that's 12 hilly Ks each way, and that will massively add up. And it's just little changes to your lifestyle where you can try and find other ways of fitting incidental exercise. It doesn't help you get through your UMS training thing, but it's a way of just thinking how to build a healthier lifestyle.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. Sure. Vinny's saying, right now I'm prioritizing the flexibility masterclass with the at-home workouts and doing any Taekwondo training at night. So he's doing the UMS at homes and the masterclass in the morning, which is just awesome, Vinny, because I know what your goals are. You're really keen to be able to kick higher, and so you're doing the things that are going to give you the biggest impact, and that's unreal. So good to see you progressing.
Lee Clements is a good example of someone who was a CrossFitter who's doing the Foundations program, and she's doing half hour of a sweat session on the other 2 days because it's a 4-day split, which is a great way of doing it because it mixes it up. And quite frankly, you guys could do a really high intensity HIIT session on those other 2 days, and that would still be absolutely fine.
Yeah, I do. Since we've stopped the at-home workouts, I just do my bare minimum is I've been doing for the last month. I've been doing 1 HIIT session for 16 minutes once a week, and then I try to do a second one. But the research shows that doing a HIIT session for 8 minutes once a week is enough to see increases in cardiovascular fitness that are equivalent to a slow and steady run of about 60 minutes, I remember Tony was saying.
And that's infinitely more than doing nothing.
That's exactly right.
That's exactly right.
So, if you can just do it once or twice a week, it's
fantastic. Yeah. Other days doing part of Mobility Masterclass plus cardio. Yeah, there you go. Boom. Perfect.
Liz Young is saying, I do UMS programming 3 days, bit of cycling and running other days. I kind of mix it up to get my own balance. For my strength training, less is more. See, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, 3 days a week of doing UMS programming is infinitely better than no days a week.
Yeah.
It's just so good, and you still get to do the things that you love doing. You don't feel like you're missing out on things because you're training. It's like Phil says, it shouldn't feel like it's a chore. Yeah. You shouldn't feel like when you go to do that 4th day of UMS, you're like, oh my God, again, I really want to go cycling. Just do 3 days, and enjoy the other things that you like doing.
Align it with your goals.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Dave Clark is saying, I follow the Foundations program 4 days a week, then still have 3 days spare to do Taekwondo twice a week. Last weekend, I was getting complimented on my flexibility improvements, so I guess your programs are working. That's
nice
awesome,
one, Dave.
That's so good, man. And you've only been with us for a short period of time, Dave, so that's really cool to see that you're seeing objective improvements. That's just unreal, brother. And Diane Norbury is saying, I combine strength and flexibility sets from the at-home workouts with CrossFit Metcons and finish with mobility work 3 days a week. Other days I do straight at-home workouts or the 18-minute routine, depending on how I feel. And you know what? I love what you guys are writing here because this is exactly how the UMS is intended. It's intended to teach you how to fish so that you can figure out what's going to work for you, but understand just some basic programming principles so that your body evolves well. And there's some people out there that do the UMS exactly as it's written.
Yeah.
And then there's other people that do this, and that's just unreal.
That's
How
right.
good is it?
I mean, if you guys saw what we get done in the workout here in an hour at Unity Gym, it's a hybrid version of the online program.
Yeah.
We do the warm-up for 10 minutes, we do 30 minutes of strength and flexibility specific training, and then we have a sweat session at the end that complements. It's always complementary. 2 days a week, it's predominantly cardio-based.
And lower body
and
exercises.
lower body
for the lower body
exercises.
days, yeah.
And then 3 days a week, it's complementary, but it's still a HIIT session. It's still, pretty intense, 20-minute circuit at the end there. And the guys are absolutely smashed. And we often have people who come from like a CrossFit class or something like that who are used to that high intensity for 30 to 40 minutes. And they finish the strength and flexibility kind of going like, I feel good, strong and supple, but I haven't got that feeling yet. And then they do the sweat session at the end and go, wow, there it is, rounded out, boom, And that's all done in a 60-minute session. So, and we have to do that in the gym because we have to be a bit more efficient at getting people through the gym a little bit quicker,
People's lunch break before work.
Yeah, that's exactly right, But yeah, so there's lots of ways to do it, guys, and something is always better than nothing.
I'm
love
just
all
stoked
the
to see all the
feedback.
people watching online. With all these daily discussions, we're hoping just to give you the tools as Rad was saying, and it's so cool to see you guys implementing and getting it done.
Getting it
best.
done, yeah,
The
guys.
best.
Remember, if you are watching the replay on YouTube, get yourself over to that UMS Movement Mastermind. Richie manages our YouTube, and he's always trying to answer specific questions from the YouTube subscribers, but we want you to get over and ask those questions in the Movement Mastermind group because we can interact better there. The reason why we do it is because we can interact better. If we need to, we can get you to post a video of what you're doing so we can actually see it and critique it. We can't do that on YouTube. They don't give us that flexibility and freedom. And also on the podcast. Big love to everyone listening on the podcast. If you haven't already, get over and join the UMS Movement Mastermind group or post your questions as a voice recorded question, comment
Link
on the
at the bottom
podcast.
of the show
Yeah,
notes.
so good. And for those of you that are listening right now or watching right now, you still have about 6 hours left to grab the UMS Foundations Phase 1 program. This is the duck's nuts of what we do. This is what really sets us apart. It's what brings the strength and flexibility together to create a balanced program, and it's the way that we get all of our online tribes started. So grab it. It's a great discounted price, and it's available for another 6 hours.
Ooh, good stuff. There you go. You can see what we're talking about.
Yep.
Okay, guys, we'll see you tomorrow. We're going to continue on the talk of sort of building the optimal body, turning driven people into strong, flexible athletes. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, everyone.
Health is about performance, not just body image.
You better be willing to accept what you're going to have to do to get there.
We'll start focusing on movement goals, strength goals, flexibility goals.
When you nail that skill, it's there forever.
The body image goal doesn't get you that
It's the
far.
consistency and frequency that's going to get you there. It's not the intensity.
There's no shortcuts to mastery and movement. Destination doesn't change overnight, but your direction will.
The gym is not the place to beat up the body that you hate. It's the place to build the body that you love.
We are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise because we believe that health is about performance, not just body image.